Hey yo, this is the Corner of the Circle. Nice little podcast with me, your host, LS McLean. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a nosy person. People are nosy. They want to know stories. They want to know what's going on in other people's lives. And yo, I am absolutely no exception. So sit back, relax, and let's just chill for a little bit. This is the Corner of the Circle. All right, boom. This is a special one, man. This is special to me because this guy I've actually known for God, it's crazy. I've known you for a while.
I mean, ever since you and Lane started doing nationals together, it's got to be 5-6 years.
Yeah, man. Like I think the first time I met you was it was in Denver. I think I I think it's Denver with like Lane and the whole crew. I met the whole Tampa crew. But yeah, guys, this is the man, the myth, the legend. A lot of legend, man. Paul REVELIA, based out of Tampa, Florida. Owner, operator, creative, Team Pro Physique. Some of your favorite fitness divas, you know what? They come to him for the they come to him for the secret. He has a secret sauce. I've seen a lot of shreds, a lot of fat being lost. A lot of people get whipped into shape by this man. Graduate from USF. I've been doing my research, man. And I mean, husband, father. I like to think that I added him to the sneakerhead fold. I think I tried to convert him over. But ladies and gentlemen, this is my friend. You all know him. You all love him, Mr. Paul REVELIA. Thank you for being on, man. I really appreciate this. It means a lot.
It's an honor, man. It's always been fun getting to know you over the last couple of years, and every time I see you, I get excied. So it's nice to chat.
Man. Yeah, it's really, really good, man. I think like the last time I saw you was at the Yorton.
You were there with Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan and Sam kind of saw you in passing. That was an eye opener.
Was that your first World Championship of Natural Bodybuilding you've been to?
It was.
Very cool. You picked a good one. That's a good show.
Whew, that was. I mean, It's weird, man, because I guess growing up, you see fitness and you see like the whole IFBB thing, and you see here of late, the whole how physique is really kind of started shooting through the roof, and then of course like the classic and all of this this new stuff, and all I'd ever known was it's like, all right, well, this guy says he's natty, but is he really natty? You know what I mean? There's always like a question mark, wanting to know. And then you meet these athletes, these ladies and men that are completely natural and are able to take the human body, I don't know, to heights that I've never even imagined. Like I don't know, man. It's
you can't describe it in pictures. You got to see it in person to just understand it.
It was weird because like that was one of the first things Ryan kind of told me, and then of course getting to know Sam as well as I've gotten to know him over the years. Just kind of watching his evolution. I mean, and he's always been a shredded guy. He's always been had such a big frame. Then to see how much better he's getting as he gets older, as the body matures, and you start learning more about yourself. Like it's crazy. Like he had a phenomenal 2017, a really, really good 2018, and so going into 2019, I know he had like big expectations. I mean, and he's kind of picked up where he left off. And I don't know a lot about the bodybuilding world, but I do know to go that many years consecutively. I mean, obviously to keep getting better, but I didn't realize how much of a feat that was for a person to be able to.
Yeah, it's very hard to be that lean for a long period of time. That takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah, so I just so that's one of the big things I've kind of been learning from from you guys on that other side of the aisle. You guys that have this ultimate form of discipline. How did you have you always kind of coached, or like how did you get in? Did you start like sports and work your way into it?
I did not want to be a coach. I fought it for a long time. When I first started, I reached out to Lane in 2007 and said, hey, I think I want to do a bodybuilding show in 2008. So we started working together for a year. I went through, I'd been a gym lifter, read all the magazines, all the books.
Right.
years, but it wasn't until I found some of his videos and some of his articles and Dr. Joe Klemczewski and started reading stuff that I was like, wow, there's more to this than just steroids and
Right.
30 sets for your arms.
Right.
Because I was bored of it. I was stuck. And then as soon as I started following some of Lane's stuff, I'm like, wow, I'm making progress. I feel good. So yeah, once I did my first show, I don't know. I think the people around me started noticing I was making changes.
Right.
I was posting all my stuff on bodybuilding.com. So people were following my journey there. I started posting a little bit on YouTube. So I started accidentally building a little bit of a reputation of a guy that got pretty lean, that was paying attention to this evidence-based approach. Because a lot of the things we were doing in 2007 and 8 are they're more common now, but things like flexible dieting and not eating a tilapia and asparagus every day, that not cutting water, actually using science to get you into the best shape possible. I kind of built a little bit of a reputation, and then when Lane basically reached a point in his building his business career where he couldn't even open up his email because he was getting so many client inquiries, and he was hearing all these horror stories of terrible coaches out there. And he was like, Paul, will you please just, you're smart, you pay attention. He just felt I would be a good coach. And I told him, no, like, bodybuilding is my thing. I don't want it to be someone else's thing. It's my escape. I like my career. So I took on one client, and the thing that I didn't expect was how much I would enjoy the personal connection of getting to know my client, seeing him go through the journey, and how grateful and excited he was to reach his goal, get on stage. And that being at that first bodybuilding show with my first client, it was like, wow, I like this feeling. I like this feeling better than I like the feeling of my other job. So, which I did like. Yeah. So that's kind of what started it, with just one client, and then just, from there. Yeah.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. Almost my exact story, except just on the powerlifting side. I just, it's always a scary. No, it's a scary thing because you're taking someone's, it's not even really them paying you, but it's just you're taking someone's, dreams and their hopes, and a goal, a huge goal that they have, their lifestyle, so to speak, and they're trusting you with it, and it's like the decisions, the decisions that you're making, be they scientifically based or not, it's just like, man, is this going to work? I hope it works. You know what I mean? And then when it, when it works, because it works. I mean, because I think at the end of the day, if you're passionate about getting that person better, helping them, improve their quality of life, it finds a way to work. Or you as a coach, you find a way to make it work. It's cool that you said that. I had a podcast with Alberto kind of about that. Like, you guys, that whole Lane, the 3DMJ guys, you guys were honestly the first people that I had ever known of to really with Lane. Lane was, Lane is almost like the godfather of it all, really, in terms of just how he brought the popularity of just science-based training, science-based eating. It was with Lane, it's such, every time I had ever, heard of him, it was always saturated in the whole idea behind science and evidence-based, learning and training and eating. And so, he kind of, helped bring this popularity and usher in this whole new wave of thinking and training and dieting, and really competing. And so when, by the time, you guys have been on it for, from 2008 to 2010, I feel like that's when you guys were almost your own test monkeys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And around that 2011, 2012 is when it really started really catching on. And by that time, like, that whole crew was, you guys were at the forefront of it all, like really the trendsetters. And then when I kind of came in the game around that 2013, 14, period of time, that's when I was like, wait, who are these dudes? Like, this is it was a whole different, just a whole different section of life I didn't even know existed. And so, and it was weird because, like, I remember seeing, you guys seeing Lane. I'm like, how is this dude so lean and he's about to go compete? And, I forget the guy that I was with. I think it was Bryce Lewis. He's like, oh, no, you haven't seen anything yet. Wait till you see Alberto. I'm like, who?
Oh,
and
Alberto showed up after a pro bodybuilding show.
And Berto was, man, I'm like, who is this? And that was kind of my thing. I'm like, wait a minute, all these shredded guys that, because it's not like you guys were, all, shredded, in shape, but you weren't small. You know what I mean? And it didn't look like, I mean, no just to any bodybuilders out there, but it didn't look grotesque, and you guys didn't look, morbid, and it was just. I'm like, I would like to look like that. I don't know that I ever could, but I would like to look like that. That was the first
Well,
time.
you could. You would be a freak if you dieted down.
When Berto told me, goes, your magic number will probably be around 175. When he said that, my eyes like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna pass.
Yeah.
175. But I mean, it's one thing that I've considered. Maybe after I'm done doing this powerlifting thing, I don't know. But so you're the thing that I've noticed is kind of over the years is, I mean, I know that you're not exclusive to just women, but I've noticed that you've become sort of a almost a guru. It seems like with I mean, a lot of your female athletes are just killing it, man. So is that just like, when did that trend kind of pick up? Did you start with like just guys and you just found that you have this talent, because I'm telling you right now, and just as well as I know, there's a lot of coaches out there that just cannot necessarily handle women, but they can't figure out that proper combination to get the female body, to that peak position. A lot try, and they get close, but I think just with your experience and what you've been able to amass over the years, I feel like you're one of the few that have really managed to find a way to really, almost perfect the art of the female dieting and fitness combination. Like I haven't seen, and I'm a nerd, dude. I study it. I just won't ever do it.
I think a lot of that stems from my early years in natural bodybuilding. So when I first started learning how to peak and prep male bodybuilders, that was about the time that a new division was introduced in the IFBB, which was the bikini division.
Right.
Prior to that, there was only figure and bodybuilding for women.
Right.
So right when I was cutting my teeth, competing as a natural pro bodybuilder, learning about powerlifting through Lane, those new divisions were created, which actually created a place for natural women to compete in the IFBB.
Right.
Because I do not do any drug protocols.
Right.
So I started getting a reputation for being able to get girls on stage looking good, because what a lot of the coaches were doing that were getting the female competitors were treating them like men with drug cycles, terrible diets, terrible training. Whereas I was training women to build muscle, doing nutrition plans that allowed them to keep muscle while getting lean, and then peaking them without pulling out water and doing all these last second tactics so that they looked all stringy. So my girls have a look to them. They show up on stage filled out yet lean.
Yeah.
And this really lent itself to the pro and the amateur bikini division, and even some the figure in the IFBB and the MPC.
Yeah, that's and so you have that's cool, because that actually is a question that I was going to ask. Like, so you have like a specific look that you like for your ladies to go for, or is it? I mean, obviously they know the look that they want because they come to you for that look. They come to you for that, so they know like it. And it's crazy because each coach has kind of their own thing, but that's something that I noticed, because the tons and tons of women that I've seen that you've worked with, they do have a full look, still a very feminine look, but at the same time, like they still have like a leanness about them. Like, oh wow, like while it's clearly they have a very, 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 very high sense of discipline, and not anyone can do that, but it looks like that look is attainable. I would have to bust my ass to do it, but that look is attainable. Yeah. I don't think people realize how hard it is until they actually try, and they get like 4 weeks into it, like, this is not for me. But that's kind of a thing that I've noticed with a lot of the ladies that I've seen that you work with, is they definitely do have a look. It's cool that you said that. Like, they definitely do have a look that's different from even at the Yorton. Like, they have a different look from.
Yeah. Well, Bronwyn, my client, won the world title this year, so that was very exciting. So
I mean, no big deal. No big deal.
That was my first ever. She got second last year, so we prepped for the whole year. But a lot of what I do is, you have to understand the sport. You have to be at the shows. You have to talk to the judges. You have to talk to the people that are making the decisions, because they let you know what they want to see. You can't be an armchair quarterback. You can't look at pictures. You can't say, well, my client got robbed because she was better. If you're not at the show, you do not know. And I have literally been to more bodybuilding shows than anybody I know in the last 2 years.
Oh yeah, without
So
a doubt. You're everywhere. You're always. That's one thing that it. I can say this from just for one because I follow you, and I mean two because I know you, but I think three because I know so many people that know you. You are everywhere. And there's honestly aside from, I feel like you've had some amazing growth in the last couple of years. That's for sure. You know what I mean? And it's not for lack of work because I mean you work your ass off. That's for sure. You're everywhere. You have to be. Especially in this business. Between yourself on the bodybuilding side, the natural bodybuilding side, and Joey Flex on the powerlifting side, I don't know that I know two men that work as hard as you guys. You guys are everywhere at all times.
Joey and I actually have a lot of talks about like our businesses because they've kind of paralleled each other. Because we've had some of the same struggles and some of the same successes. There's, people see somebody with a lot of clients and they think, man, that must be awesome. Let me tell you, it's difficult to figure out how to grow responsibly, figure out, how to hire people that can help you do better, because at a certain point, owning a business becomes what your job is versus being a coach until you get people in a place so that you can go back to coaching. You don't have to worry about all the little business owning aspects.
That's crazy. Yeah, I that was kind of one of the the things like, and I honestly people have probably heard this on the podcast at least 10 times, just talking about coaching. Whenever I talk to any coaches about it, one of the coolest things that I got from Eric Conrick was, you think that it's easy until you do it, and then you realize it's more than an 8-hour job. It's more than it's you know what I mean. Like and it's weird because like I'm at that point now. I'm like I would love to only be able to put 8 hours in, but it's not possible. It's not even. I was like to think that you have a 40-hour-a-week job, and that's it. In this line of the business, in this part of fitness, it's not even possible. It's not even possible. And the thing is, I don't know that you would want it to be possible because there's, most of the great things happen, in my opinion, they happen after hour 40. I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Those amazing, the breakthroughs, they happen after hour 40.
Well, it's the same philosophy of like, oh, well, I don't want to train for more than an hour. I don't want to, no, like, all the great breakthroughs happen when you're outside your normal comfort zone.
Yeah, you have to. So, I mean, it's crazy because, when I was a lot like you like at the beginning, it's like, I don't know that I really want to do this. And I mean, people that inquired about it, but nah, it's not, it's not really my thing. Like, while as a performer, as a competitor, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily translate to you being a great coach just because you can perform on stage or just because you can perform on a platform. You know what I mean? And so for me, I was like, I didn't want to be one of those guys because I knew some of those guys, and I didn't go to school for any of it. So I mean, like, well, let me do this. Let me do a little bit of research. Let me talk to Ben Escrow. Let me talk to Lane. I picked Lane's brain a lot about it. When I was like, well, I mean, it's something that I wouldn't mind doing, but where would I start?
Right.
I picked Ryan's brain about it, and finally, believe it or not, Joey Flex. Joey was the one that gave me my final push. Like, dude, you need to do it. Like, you're able to do it. I believe you can do it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And I took on one guy, you know what I mean? And I had all my little programs that I had set up. I was my own guinea pig for a year. I was like, all right, this worked for me. And if it can work for me, it can work for anybody because I'm trash. And so I was like, all right, we'll see.
You're trash. You're a world champion.
But everybody starts somewhere, And so, and it's weird that, to look back on it now, I'm like, man, I always, you know what I mean? As much as, as people want to say, like, oh, this guy, that Joey's got this and Paul's got that. And they've got so many people. There's no way they, have enough time for all their people. Like, there's no way that people will ever understand how much work and time it takes to get to the point where you guys are at, And so for me, it's just like, well, man, I'm not walking in y'all's shoes, thank God. You know what I'm saying? I don't know mentally that I'm able to do that.
Yeah, but let me compare it to something that you love, because I know you love the cheerleading and I know you love bench pressing and powerlifting. So like, no one has to make me work more. I love what I do. I love coaching people. I love getting people to their best. So like, I've never once worried about how many hours I work.
Nah.
I worry about how much can I get done in a day, and then I still got to go see my family and, you know, maybe lift some weights, but like, I love doing this. So I don't,
Oh yeah.
I've never clocked in or clocked out, you know?
No, it's weird because when I did, and I'll openly admit it, when I did have to clock in, clock out, when I did have a 9 to 5, when I did have a very steady paycheck that didn't depend on, you know, me showing up and making sure my people were on point, like I hated it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I had a great job. I had a very good job, but
I was the same way. Yeah.
it was a job. And
you just get used to waiting for Friday 5, and you don't want to be Monday at 8, you know, like you just start to live that life.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm like, why do this? And it was weird because my girl was like, this isn't what you want to do. It's clearly it's not what you want to do. And, you know, my dad was pretty much the first person who's like, listen, I understand that, you know, everyone enjoys the money. Everyone enjoys that security yields, but that's not everything. It's no guarantee that, you know, it's no guarantee that you're going to live to see tomorrow. So do you want to spend the rest of your life wondering, like, I wonder what would happen if I would have, or if I should have? And like, all right, you know, and I made my dad a promise a long time ago, like before I started college, was like, my only promise that we don't necessarily make promises to each other. Is like, the only promise I ask of you is that you make your living with your brain and not with your back. Like, okay. You know what I mean? And so, you know, he's like, this is a chance for you to live up to that promise you made me. You can live off your brain and not your back. I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. And so that was kind of my final trial. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to quit this, you know, this 9 to 5, and I'm going to start coaching full time. Who does that? Apparently you do too. So, but it's just, you know,
scary.
I mean, it is scary because if you don't work, you don't eat. But the cool thing is, you're right. You get to a point where you don't necessarily think about the hours spent. You don't think about a clock in or clock out. I mean, it's a series of amazing moments and amazing breakthroughs that you become addicted to. I think as a coach, I become addicted to breakthroughs for my people. I become, I'm addicted to, like, all right, there's no time for me. Like, I got a guy, you know, I have a guy in London that has he has a meet, you know, in a couple of days. Well, I know for a fact that going to sleep at 10 o'clock and waking up at 6 is not going to be a possibility. I'm actually going to have to be up at 3, 4 a.m. for us to have our talk before he goes into the gym. And I don't mind it. So I hated having to get up at 6 a.m. to go to work. Now it's like, if I go to bed before 6 a.m., it's a miracle. Because, I mean, you know, as you people do well, you start getting more people, more client, more people that want to be a part of what you're putting out there. And so there's no clock. You know, I guess your life kind of becomes a casino. Like, the clock doesn't exist anymore. It's just a series of dates and places you need to be and breakthroughs that you need to make. So, I mean, it's cool. Again, this is part of the reason that I reach out to people like you, because, I mean, for me as a coach that, you know, obviously you're trying to get better and you're trying to grow what you have in terms of your business and in terms of your brand. You have to have a benchmark. You have to have a series of people that you look up to. You're one of those people. You're for me, you're a benchmark in terms of the growth of a business, because I do remember when it was, you know, oh, that's Lane's guy, Paul. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I loved being that guy. No one was looking at me. No one bothered me. I was killing it, and no one even knew who I was.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I remember that. I remember asking when I was like, "Who's that dude that's Lane?" I was like, "Oh, that's Lane's guy, Paul." I'm like, "Oh, word?" He goes, "Yeah." Like, dude, he's good. I'm like, "Oh yeah, he is." Like, yeah. Does he do what Lane does? Like, yeah, man. Like, really? Because all I knew was just like this. I always knew this name of Lane. That's all I knew. You know what I mean?
Lane literally at one point, I mean, he was literally built out of gold. He touched it, talked about it, did it. He made natural bodybuilding popular. He made the USAPL more popular. He brought thousands of fans into the sport. Lots of people started competing. I mean, De Novo was all, you know, because of, you know, Lane's influence. And I mean, there was nothing he could do wrong.
There was nothing. Yeah, he could do no wrong. So it's like, man, that's it. That's Lane's guy, Paul. And then I don't know when it happened, but I really don't know when it happened. It was just kind of hit me. And I remember I was talking to Ryan Doris. I mean, because we pretty much talk at least, you know, 2-3 times a month. It's like a long 3-4 hour conversation. I was like, dude, you know who's killing the game right now? Because we always do, like, hey man, you know who's killing it? You know, we always point out, I was like, dude, you know who's killing it right now? He's like, who? I was like, Paul. Is like, yes, man. Yes. It had to be like, I don't know.
He was just here last month.
Yeah, man. We're gonna talk about that because I definitely want to talk about that event. But that was like the coolest thing. And I could not tell you when. Maybe it was the Olympia. Maybe I saw you at the Olympia.
Yeah, I saw you at the Olympia. I saw you at the Toronto Pro. You were doing an exhibition there.
Yeah.
I had some clients competing. So
Yeah, it was one of those. I think it was after Olympia, after kind of seeing Olympia, because because you had your camera guy with you, had your crew, your entourage with you. I'm like, oh, who's killing? Yeah, it was there. It was
okay. I remember we saw each other.
Because his brother and everything was with us, and we were at dinner, and I remember like, dude, who's killing the game? Dude, Paul is killing it, man. And Ron's like, yes, man. He really is. And then fast forward a few months later, he's like, dude, Paul's got this camp, man. I'm like, what? Because yeah, man. I was like, what? And then it's been cool to watch it, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's very impressive. Like that, and it's cool because that's something that I've always kind of wanted to do. Is like, I want to have a camp where I can bring some people in and do some stuff like that. So I mean, you're doing a lot of stuff that I it's literally on my board of things to do in life. So I just, man. Dude, I'm not lying to you. Like when I'm like, it's cool to be a friend, but it's even cooler for me to be a fan. You know what I mean? Like I like being fans of my friends.
Love it. I've been a fan of yours for a long time, so now we can.
I mean, I only got a couple more years, and then I gotta go back to the drawing board. But so let's talk about this event, this Team Pro Physique event.
Yeah.
So where did that all start? I mean, and for those I just kind of explain a little bit for those that don't know what I'm talking about, but like kind of how did that start?
So the Pro Physique experience that I had this year was all based around the fact that the dynamic of the company has changed quite a bit. So Pro Physique started off as just me. It was me coaching.
Right.
It then became me and a guy named Stephen Bogrand, who was the first person I hired. He just started helping me with some odds and ends things, like I promote a bodybuilding show, and he was getting his master's degree in exercise science at USF. So we were in school together. And then I started getting more client inquiries than I could review. So he started reviewing them. He started coaching a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then from there, it just kind of took off. So Pro Physique is now, I think we have 11 full-time coaches and 4 employees that don't coach, digital, customer service. One of them is my wife that's really kind of helped shape the brand and the business. So we realized we needed something to bring all the coaches together. So we flew all the coaches in. We have one coach in Canada, Tyler, who I think you've met.
Right.
We got April out in Arkansas. We got Danny's in Oklahoma. So we're bringing people in from all over. So we needed an event to be a team builder. Like we're all under this umbrella, and I wanted to bring in a few people that I felt were like the most qualified to talk to us about just how to be the best at our jobs. We're all coaches. Although they're all Pro Physique coaches, they all have their own styles, their own niches. So I brought in Ryan Doris, who in my mind is probably the greatest programmer right now. I just get so much positive feedback from my clients that work with him. Brought in Dr. Joe Klemzeski, who was Lane Norton's first coach, who has 2 PhDs, multiple master's degree, who literally invented the term flexible dieting. So he's changed the industry. And then I brought in Brett Contreras, who has a PhD in building muscle, and he's focused a lot on glute development, but he's mostly a strength and power coach.
Right.
So I brought them in, and the idea was on Friday we would have an event just for the coaches. So we had the 11 coaches in a conference room doing some learning and some discussions about how I can be better as a business owner. Mm-hmm. But then I also wanted to be a student. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we had an event where we had the public come in, all Pro Physique clients that were interested. Flew in, and we just did some training. We did some eating. We went out and had some tequila. It was like a bonding experience.
Right.
So I didn't want to sit in a classroom. I wanted it to be, because all everyone talks about is when are we getting together?
Right.
When's the next event? So the Olympia, the Arnold, these are great events, but there's all this other stuff going on. Well, the Pro Physique experience was Pro Physique coaches, Pro Physique clients, Pro Physique professionals.
Right.
All in a really cool setting in downtown St. Petersburg. The ocean's there. The weather's warm in February in Florida. We got, we had a great gym. So yeah, it was the first time I've done that specific event, and it went really well.
That's crazy. So now it's just like, it's just cool to watch the growth. I mean, and at the end of the day, that's what it's about. I mean, getting people better, making them better, providing them with an opportunity and a service that they won't forget, And so you look back on it, let's rewind it. Let's take it back to 2000. Let's take it back to 2015, right? If, what are there some specific moves that you've made since 2015 that has gotten you? So 5 years ago, has there been a key move or a couple key moves that you made just as you know, one as an individual, two as a competitor, and three just as a business owner that have really gotten you to this point? Has there been like a key
Oh
moment
yeah.
that got you there?
Yeah, I think, you and I can both agree that we have this feeling of, it's called imposter syndrome. When you
Mm-hmm.
start coaching, you're so worried, like, I'm not doing the right things. I don't deserve this
Right.
success. And honestly, it was a mindset switch from me. And I think it's honestly just confidence that was built up by people having belief in me, that I used to always look at what other people were doing. Okay, what's this person doing? What's that person doing? And I stopped doing that, and I started believing in the things that I thought were right, and just blocked out all the noise. And now I have a vision for where I want to go and what we're doing, and it's big. It's no longer just like, man, I just hope next month I make enough money to keep the lights on.
Woo!
No.
Preach, preach.
Now my goals are, and I'm not trying to do this in a day or a week or a year or maybe 10 years or 30 years, but my goal now, for me personally, when I said this out loud, it changed my behavior, because you've got to remove your ego. When I say I want to be the best coach in the world, first of all, I don't expect to ever get that title. There's no such thing. But when you think that way, your behavior changes.
Man,
if you want to be the best coach in the world, you cannot shut off the way you learn. You cannot be egocentric. You cannot think you're better than people. You have to look at what everyone's doing out there and go, what can I learn from these people? Whether you like them or not, what are they doing right? And then you can kind of like start to pay attention to that. Once I did that, I started thinking of Pro Physique less as a little tiny business with maybe a couple employees. My goal now is to be Weight Watchers.
Okay, you feel that? Whew. That's break time. I get tired of listening for too long. So, let's chill for a little bit. Quick little break. Stretch your legs. Get something to drink. And then mosey right back. And let's listen up to the corner of the circle. Let's get started with the next part. Let's go.
Jenny Craig. Whatever it looks like. Whatever the greatest coaching business in the world can be, because those are different businesses. But
right.
I'm not limiting my thinking anymore. I'm not limiting my scope. We just bought our first gym, so that's going to be opening next month. Who knows? What does that turn into? I don't know. Like, we're just taking little steps and seeing what becomes, because what I've found is, like, you don't realize, like, the first time I went to the Olympia with Lane was the first time I came home and got inundated with messages and new followers. And it was like, wow, going to these events was good for me.
Right.
So I'm going to go to every event and see what happens.
I hear you.
So then I started making YouTube videos, and I made a video, and some guy in the gym walked up to me and said, man, I watched your video. And I was like, you did? I have no followers. I'm like, why are you watching my videos? He's like, oh, I'm a natural bodybuilder. I was searching for natural bodybuilder. So, man, I'm like, okay, so maybe YouTube is a thing where I got to put out information that people are looking for. Right. Boom. Now YouTube is taking off for me. So, like, I'm always just trying things to see, and I no longer limit my thinking. That's it. I just don't limit the scope of my growth.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you, Paul. When you said that you just bought a gym, man, that gave me chills, dude. Like, I'm super emo, so I almost choked up a little bit, because I remember you talking to me at the Olympia. I will never forget this. I'm like, dude, I want to do that. When you told me, he's like, you know what? I want to get a gym. I want to, when you're like, I want to get a gym, I want to have a facility where I can, bring people in and help people get better. Those were your words. I won't forget them.
I used to never want a gym, but what I realized was the best coaches in the world have a place where they can bring people.
Let's go. Exactly. Yeah. And, man, dude, I honestly, I feel bad for the people that are listening to this podcast, because they're like, dude, LS is losing his mind right now. Like, you're speaking to my spirit right now, dude. I'm not joking. It's the moves that you are making, man, they're all things that, I mean, no joke, when I tell you that I have so many goals, so many things written down, so many things that I've been working on, speaking to existence, and obviously putting the groundwork down to do. You're doing so many things, that I want to do, and it's, and that's been the biggest struggle for me as a coach, is not necessarily, not necessarily having ego. I mean, because I don't think you can be a lifter. nowadays and have an ego because you're gonna get yourself hurt, especially my age. But the part about really working on, keeping your head on the swivel and singing the things that are effective and affective, in that how I cannot bring that in, to help my people get better. That's been the biggest thing in terms of my switch in psyche, is that I've worked a little bit harder at trying to acquire more. I will read the book. Give me any book, give me any article, give me the research. I'll go through that. I will comb through it, and I will find how it can help my people. But the application of which, that's the part that I struggle with as a coach, that I still struggle with this day, because I get so locked in, so tunnel vision in terms of helping my people get better with the evidence that I've been given and with the information that I just acquired, that I forget some of the stuff has already been done. And by some, damn near all of it is done by someone somewhere out there. It's just that, I think as a competitor, the last thing you really want to do is look at what other people are doing in terms of as a lifter. So I'm like, I don't want to look at what my competition is doing, because I want to focus on myself. But when it comes to dealing with other people, you've got to find the best avenue to help your people get better, because no two people are alike in how their bodies adapt to the stimulus that's given. So that's huge that you say that, and I noticed that's not necessarily, it's not just exclusive to you, but you hear from a lot of good coaches, a lot of good athletes, a lot of successful people, is that there's a point where your attitude, where your psyche just, you flip the switch, and it's not necessarily, they're doing this, man, that's so awesome they're doing this, but it starts becoming a why not us, type attitude. Like, why not me? Why can't I have, a world champion, bodybuilder on stage? Why can't I have a world champion powerlifter on stage? I got close last year. I got a guy that was second. Never thought that would ever happen. You know what I mean? And you would have thought that I won it myself.
It's way better when it's your client.
I don't think people understand that part right there. That is better. I've won a lot. I won some sick ones, but it's something about seeing your people succeed, because it's not just personal for them, but it's personal for you as a coach. It's like, And I don't know, man. I think I'm a little too high for this. I need to quit drinking this coffee, but I just I'm telling you, man, like I have so many questions that are ripping and running through my brain, but I think that's the probably the coolest thing, is just seeing how someone that I look up to, and you always think on the outside looking in, like, you know what, man, he's got it down. But then you don't realize, like, everyone has that point where they didn't have it down, where they were, trying to figure out like how to get to this point. And to see that one of the people that I idolize is like, hey, well, there was a point that, that I wasn't this way. There was a point where I was, looking at everything else but my ability as a coach, as a business owner, as a competitor, how I could get better. So, it's cool to see and hear you say those things, man. I'm hyped right now, dude. That's crazy. So, at this point right now, for I would say not just for you, but for Team Pro Physique and for the brand, for what you guys do, what really differentiates you guys from, I won't really say everyone else, but what really kind of differentiates what you guys do, what your brand of coaching is, I take from anyone else?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I'm really focusing on is building personal relationships with our coaches and our clients. So we have, before we sign a client, we're going to have a 30-minute phone call for free with this person and go over what's your goals, how are we going to reach these goals. We're going to discuss what we're going to do. And if it's a good fit, great. If it's not, listen, we're not trying to corner the market on athletes and coaches. I want my coaches to be happy, but I want everyone that works with us to just get a sense of, man, they're a part of something bigger than themselves. The one thing that I've really noticed that I didn't get early on when I was coaching, I'd be like, man, I lost this client to this other coach, and I know I'm a better coach, but they often would leave for the community. That's what I'm focused on now, is building the community. This event we just had, that was the first event. At the Arnold, we're having another event with only Pro Physique people on Friday night. That's going to be a community builder. This gym, when it opens, it's free. There's no memberships. It's who's in town, come train, come eat.
That's awesome.
It's free. We're building a community. So that's the thing that I want to do that no one else is really doing. It feels to me like bodybuilding is a group of people that are exclusive. They want to just eat their meals and be quiet and stay in their dungeon. But actually, we want to connect with people that have the same goals.
Right.
And when you find people that have the same goals, whether you're a flat earther, whether you want to race your car in 4 seconds, whether you want to spend $350 on a pair of Jordans that only 3 people have,
right,
that's your community.
Right.
And that makes you feel normal. You're like, oh, I'm not weird because I want to get shredded. That's not weird, but it's weird to everybody else.
Oh yeah.
But then so that's really what we do is, we take a really good approach to coaching. We use evidence-based approaches. All my coaches are educated and experienced,
right.
But we're building a community with that too.
Yes, I mean, so like the goal at the end of the day is you want to provide, you want to provide people with community. I mean, because one, it's, I mean, I feel weird saying it, but I mean, it kind of takes it back to like, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. If you build community, if you build something that's so unique, that's so different from what everyone else is doing, people are going to come because at the end of the day, we all want to be part of something. I don't care what anyone says. The loneliest person out there, the loneliest of all wolves, wants to be a part of something. Everyone wants to be a part of something. It doesn't have to be something.
It's in our DNA, man.
Yeah, I mean, So I mean, it's awesome that's the root of it all, to build community. I mean, and especially in fitness, can tend to be a bit of a, while it is individualized in terms of everyone's personal journey, you're still a part. You still want to be a part of something because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the one thing that does kind of bond people are, your adversities and your commonalities. So, I mean, if, hey, you're starving, guess what, bro? I'm starving too. But let's go smash these rates real quick. Yeah. Oh, so yeah. So you finally cracked under 10% body fat. That's awesome. I'm at 11 right now. So what did you do? Like, it's, I mean, and the thing is, for Joe Schmo that's outside looking in, it's like, dude, those people are absolutely insane. But it doesn't matter when you're in that community. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think it's insane to spend 1,000 hours trying to tune up your car to go half second faster in a quarter mile.
Without a doubt.
Don't make it wrong. Just for me, I would never want to do that.
No.
Lane is one of my friends. That dude will go fishing all day, every day. Boy. Keep me off a boat. I do not want to be sticking. No, I don't even get it. I'm going to go to Publix and get my fish.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like that was the one thing I never got. Like my parents, sister, they absolutely love to fish. They love to go angling and all that stuff. I'm like, dude, I did it all my life and I cannot stand it. I mean, if you put me next to a body of water, I'm like, it's not for me. Are we going on a cruise? Because that's the only way I'm going to be out that long. But yeah, I appreciate that. I really do. So a question, actually, this is from one of my guys that he asked is so y'all's coaching, is it only for competitors? Do you have?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
So coaching competitors is something that it's really kind of you have to, probably be a competitor or love the side of the sport because it's a bit more neurotic than just typical weight loss, putting on muscle, getting stronger goals.
Right.
It takes years to even have the opportunity to coach competitors in most cases.
Right.
So only in the last 2 years have I gone competitor only. Mm-hmm. And this is the first year that I will have only competitors as clients.
Wow.
Last year, if you remember, I was coaching Sean at the Arnold.
This is true.
At the powerlifting meet, right? And now Sean was someone that came to me. He was just like, hey man, I just want to lift some weights and put on some muscle. And every time he would turn in his updates with the weights, I'm going, this can't be right. I said, send me a video of your squat. He's squatting 455 for 8 after a year of lifting. And I'm like, he looked like a piston. Yeah. I said, hey man, you should try a powerlifting meet. He's like, okay. Went to a powerlifting meet. Qualified for nationals, and he took that journey. So I was on that journey with him. I just loved helping people get to their best.
Right.
But when you remember what I said earlier, when you want to be the best in the world at something, you really got to niche down.
Man.
When I was at Raw Nationals with Sean 2 years ago in Spokane, and he was in that prime time.
Yeah.
And I'm backstage and I'm asking Joey for advice. And thank God he's the nice guy. I'm like, Joey, you know, what do I do here? What do I do here? That's when I realized, like, as much as I've loved coaching Sean, it's time for me to let this go, because my goal is not to be the best powerlifting coach in the world.
Right.
You know, for Sean to go from top 5 to, you know, competing with Russ or he needs the next level of coach. It was hard for me to say that to him, and we had a great conversation. I still love that dude. But so no, our coaching business is based around what each individual coach loves doing. I have a powerlifting coach. I have people that work with women after they've had a baby. I have a registered dietitian that wants to work with people who are diabetic or have metabolic diseases. I love competitors. Steven loves competitors. Kate loves competitors. You know, so we you know, Tyler loves competitors. We each have our own little niche. And fortunately, we're getting enough inquiries where we're able to kind of specifically, I have a lady that literally just looks at the inquiries, goes, man, this would be a good one for Paul.
That is awesome, man. That's awesome. Like, hey, so you really have a good thing going. Yeah, that was one of the things that, I mean, knowing him, he's probably going to email, he's probably going to inquire, because that's one of the things, like, and that was one of the things that I as a coach, I had to do. You know, like now, actually, one of your athletes, Ashton, I actually sent.
Oh, she's getting ready for the Arnold, man.
Yeah, she's getting ready for Arnold. Yeah, I actually send people toward her, because now it's one of those things, again, you know, to borrow the phrase, like, you have to niche down. I know that I'm great at the powerlifting thing. I think I can keep getting better, but I know, I mean, I can help you with your general diet here and there, but man, if you're trying to get specific and you're trying to cut this weight, and especially as a female, I do not want to be responsible for messing you up if I don't know what I'm doing. I can help you generally, you know what I mean? Like, I can help you, but I think that time comes where you realize, like, you know what? If I don't have the answers, rather than me going and finding the answers, let me send you to a source of the answers. Yeah. Let me send you to a source that can help you, you know, not only get better, but, you know, possibly put you in a position to, you know, to be the best you've ever been. So it's, you know, I've been able to kind of, you know, I mean, between Ryan and you know, a lot of the guys that I have in my circle that do handle nutrition very well, it's awesome for me to be able to send them to those guys, you know. I've even sent Sam a few just to make sure that, I mean, they're in good hands, and at the same time, I know the people well enough, like, hey, listen, this is what they're doing. Just stay in constant contact to make sure that they're on point. I mean, because it's easy, like, hey, why don't you go to Paul? You know, why don't you try to go Lane? Why don't you try? And I mean, and I think the cool thing now is that you're not, and I can tell you from, like, literally, I've had this conversation, like, well, why don't you just reach out to Paul? I'm not on that level. That, honestly, man, it's crazy to go from, oh, that's Lane's guy, Paul, to, like, oh, dude, I'm not on that level. I can't reach out to Paul. So I think, you know, that speaks to the volume, that speaks volumes to the work that you put in, you know what I mean, from point A to now point B. So it's kind of cool to see, like, oh, come on, man, it's just Paul. In my head, I'm like, it's just Paul, but I'm like, dude, I would never be like, hey, Paul, I need help, man. There's no way. I mean, Lane offered to help me once. I was like, nah, Lane, I'm good, but I'm not.
Dude, I remember going after a meet with you to eat, and I think we ate the biggest, greasiest burger and some fries, and I'm like, how do you make weight? And you're like, this is just my happy weight. You don't have to, like, really put a whole lot of effort. Lane would be dieting for months to make that, what was it, 205 weight class when they changed it. And I remember, like, he literally had to, like, plan his diet out to the day for, like, weigh-ins and stuff to make sure he was on point, because he was training at 210, 208. Yeah. Like, it's hard for that USAPL weigh-in. So you were at the right place for your body to be its strongest. Yeah. Lane was, like, fine-tuning things because he knew 230 he wasn't going to be competitive. So, like,
it's you know, hard. Like that guy, he had it down, man. He really had it down. I remember watching him eat a Pop. I'm like, dang, you eating before weigh-in? He goes, man, it's just part of it. It's part of the plan. I'm like, all right. Well,
he knew. He weighed himself the day before, the day of. He knew so he could eat into the show.
Yeah, that's just always crazy. That's so crazy to me. Okay, so what's again, I only have a few more questions, but I mean, these are, again, this one question actually is from one of my ladies. What's a common problem that you've noticed that people are starting to do? Because they're obviously there's tons of different diets out there, from vertical to carnivore to, you know, gluten-free to whatever. What's one of the common, I guess, mistakes that, not necessarily mistakes, but what's one of the common problems that you've seen with people in their dieting, like here of late? I mean, because there's always a new trend.
Well, the most common problem, and this has not changed at all since I came into the sport, since Lane started talking about flexible dieting, was the acceptance that when you enter a fat loss phase, you go to only eat these 7 basic foods. If you're not eating tilapia, asparagus, oatmeal, chicken, rice, then you're doing a bad job. So I just don't believe in restrictive meal plans. It creates eating disordered behavior. It creates binary associations with food, as in good or bad, whereas all food is good. All food.
Right.
Someone right now is like, no, isn't chocolate cake bad? No. Chocolate. If you're about to starve to death, is chocolate cake bad? No. It's all in context. What is your goal? What are you focused on right now? And that's how you know. So teaching people how to eat and not fear food is really what I feel is most valuable for being successful in a weight loss, but also a lifestyle approach to this. And that's the thing that kind of Lane brought to the forefront, was this idea of tracking your macronutrients. How much protein, carbs, and fats are you getting? That's what we should be focused on.
Right.
Not, are you, a lot of people come to me, man, I can't lose weight, but I'm eating healthy. What's healthy? Well, I eat a muffin. Well, what's in the muffin? Well, I don't know. But it says healthy on the label. Well, yeah, but you don't know that it has 50 grams of fat.
Yeah.
And your Starbucks coffee has, 1,000 calories. But it's just coffee. So learning to actually understand about nutrition, that's really what we do. We teach people habits that they can take with them for the rest of their lives.
Okay, so my a couple more and I'm out of here. So for you, well, we talked about the future of Pro Physique a little bit. What's one big thing that you're seeing in the future for the company, for yourself, that probably excites you the most right now?
Oh, well, she's right here. Hold on.
Oh, nicely done. Hello. I actually saw. She's legit.
That's LS.
Oh.
She said you're legit. So do you recognize this is Deraja Hill? So she's in, let me look at that physique. She's my first ever competitor that's qualified for the Olympia. And she's also qualified at the Arnold. So she's competing at the Miss Bikini International as a pro at the Arnold this year.
Dude, she's not even real. She's not real. She doesn't even, that's crazy.
Not real.
No,
He's CGI,
dude. Today was our
CGI.
last check-in. We went over to USF, did some body comp testing. We did some posing. So this was kind of our last check-in in person before we head to Ohio next week. Man, are you going to be there?
Yeah, man. I compete on Sunday, actually, so.
Oh, cool. Hey, dude, she competes Saturday, so I'll be free Sunday. We'll come watch you.
Perfect.
Are you doing bench only, or are you doing full power?
No, I'm doing full power, man. I'm actually, believe it or not, because I'm in the middle of a diet for the World Championships in April. I'm gonna go up to 105. I'm gonna go as a light 105, and so I just don't wreck myself doing a water cut or anything. Last year was my last Arnold was the last time I'm ever gonna do a water cut. I'm never gonna do it again. I'm never.
Yeah. In 2 hours, there's no good things can happen.
Nah, man. But I just want to see
how. Even if you get lucky and there's a delay and you get 4 hours, it's just not enough.
Nah, it's just not. It's not enough. So I told myself I'm never doing another water cut again. And then if I ever got to the point where I was gonna have to do a water cut.
I'll drag Deraja, but that's kind of what I'm excited about, is that there's been this stigma for a long time in the sport that you can't be competitive at the highest level doing things the way I do them. Natural, with flexible dieting, and using an evidence-based approach to training and nutrition. And she's kicking in the door for us, man. She's awesome. She's not just coming to get on stage. She's coming to do some damage.
Why? You don't go to show up. I'm a firm believer in, I don't go anywhere for the experience. If I want to go for experience, I'll go to Disney World. But if you're going to compete, you go to compete. You know what I mean? That's what it's about. So I'll close it on that, man, because I think that's awesome. Because that's dope. I'm excited for you, man. I'm proud. I'm proud of you, proud to know you, but I'm super excited for the future for you, man. Because it's just, you got all cylinders running right now, and and there's no looking back. And I think that's the coolest thing is knowing how hard and how consistent you've been in terms of your work and your input into this industry, man, and especially into your particular part. I don't think people understand, how, it's it might seem like it's easy on our end watching from this outside looking in, but it's not it's a difficult task to do all the things that you're doing. But again, like you said before, you know, you don't necessarily think about it that way. I mean, you're plugging and you're running and you're making sure that you get it done. And I mean, and it's fun.
I'm trying to just constantly make sure I'm doing the things that got me here again and not changing, you know, and then and still learning and looking at, like, you know, for example, my coach Steven, when I hired him, he started sending videos to his clients when they were sending check-ins, and I had never done that.
Yeah.
I was like, how are you doing that? He's like, oh, I downloaded this thing and you just send a video. So I was like, shit. So I started sending my clients videos. They've lost their shit. They're like, holy crap, coach, you send videos now? I'm like, sure.
Dude,
like,
I've been trying to find that because I watched Ryan Doris do it a couple years ago. I'm like,
yeah, it's on, just go on Google, and it's Google Chrome. It's called Loom, Loom.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was just like,
so, but that's the thing. Like, look at what's available and don't just do what other people are doing. Go, what can I do to stand out?
Exactly.
You know, like if you're a client of somebody, what's something that they did that you remember? People, you know, and this is one thing I'll say about you, you make everyone around you just feel so happy to be around you, and just like everyone leaves your presence and they just feel like, man, I want to hang out with that dude more. Like I've never left your presence and thought like, I'm good, I can't handle no more of that. No, like, and that's something, like, people remember how you make them feel. And so I think a lot of times in coaching, there's this kind of feeling of like, don't bother me, I'm busy. No. Anytime a client's like, hey, I'm sorry to bother you, you never bother me.
No,
there's no such thing. Like that's between your ears. I'm excited to talk to you. And I try to just always have that energy with people. It's like, I love what I'm doing. So like, you see me in an event, just because I got this old mean mug, stop me, talk to me. Like, I love that stuff.
It's likewise, Paul. I really appreciate those. This is a dope words. I really do appreciate that. I think that's what you really you bring out. I've just noticed this in terms of just some of the athletes I've been able to talk to that you work with. You bring out the best in people, and I think, you know, that's a skill that so many coaches have the potential to bring to the table, but they're unable to do because they're not willing to get past that point. Like you said about, you know, there's not necessarily a hierarchy in terms of a coach versus a client. You know what I mean? There's a small degree of separation in that you're trying to help them get better, and they're volunteering to listen to what you have to say to get them to that point. That, in my opinion, that's the only degree of separation that there is in terms of coach versus client. Aside from that, I always feel like, you know, we're eye to eye in terms of what you're trying to get to your best version. And it is my job to try to get you to that best version. What ends up happening is, you know, at least for me, in my experience, and I'm sure you can echo this, that passion to help that person become the best version of themselves, you start taking it personal as well.
Yeah.
So that degree of separation that you did have, it just kind of starts melding together. And it's not that you become one, but your interests become one in terms of them becoming better, them wanting to be better, and you as a coach trying to help them get better. So there's a point of even keelness that ends up happening for me, that I fall in love with the process of helping them be the best versions of themselves, because I feel like when you get to that point, it helps you as a coach, as a person, as a man, to become better, because you're finally doing something for that particular person that's above and beyond yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not about the paycheck, and it's not about them and the check-in, and it's not about what they're eating or what they're not eating, or, you know, what they're lifting, what they're not lifting. It's simple, down to the bare bones of it all. It's about you helping them be the best version of themselves. And in doing that, it helps you become a better version of yourself. And you get a chance to do that over and over and over and over and over and over. And the next thing you know, at least for me, man, it makes you, for me, I feel like it's helped make me a better man, help make me more understanding, you know, and, you know, I have to listen more, you know, and I've never been much of a listener, you know. I mean, I've always heard what people have to say, but to hear and listen are two different things, you know, and, you know, and so I steal a lot from a lot of you guys that are around. But that's one of the huge things that I always heard about Alberto, and how, you know, he's a master listener, you know, and So I wanted to do that. I wanted to get better at that. So it's cool to know that so many of you guys that are so very successful that there's a lot of commonalities between all of you. Like you guys are very masterful in terms of how you listen and how you're able to, to take what you've heard, take what you've listened to, and be able to put it back into the programming, into the diet, and making sure that your people get the best version of themselves. So that's I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I can brag about you to you all day. So, but I'll get out of your hair. Of course, I'll hit you with my three the two last questions. The first one, of course, like I told you, is a bucket list. What are three things that you've yet to do that you would love to be able to do before it's all said and done?
So do you mean something like
It could be anything.
go to Europe with my wife? Or
It could be anything that you want. Anything.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty blessed. I've had a good fortune and a good run. I'd love to have a client win the Olympia title. That's definitely,
That'd be awesome.
Deraja here's got a shot this year, but just the idea of helping a client achieve the ultimate in a sport, I think that's something I'd like to do. I got two boys now, so
yeah, you do.
One of my goals with them is I just want them to be awesome people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what they fall in love with, what their passions are, but I just want people to have that vibe, like, oh, that's the REVELIA kids, they're awesome, So that's creating good, independent people is like,
awesome.
Is the thing. And then, I'd love to get to like a 50th wedding anniversary with my wife and just be able to look back and be like, damn, look what we did. Like,
man, come on now.
Yeah. So
that's
like
awesome.
me and my wife is a boss. Like people know my name. They don't know her name, but I promise you there would be no me without her. She is the driving force behind the family, the business. She herself is killing it in her business. She owns a real estate business. We just bought our first income property. So like we're doing things together that are just amazing. So yeah, just, that'd probably be it.
Look at Paul over here being goals. Dang it. Now I gotta go tell my girl, hey man, we gotta get on it, man. One more thing. So what now? What is Paul doing that you need to do now? So great. Thanks. But yeah, I appreciate you, but I cannot tell you how much you are appreciated. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate this conversation. I think, for the listeners that are going to have an opportunity to listen to this, man, they're in for a treat, number one. But number two, I think for me, I need to hear this just as much as the people that I'm excited are going to get the chance to hear. I definitely need to hear this. This is free therapy. Thanks, man. I appreciate you, bud.
Us old guys, we got a lot of
Oh, I'm telling you, man. I think once, like, people don't understand, like, once you pass that 35, 36 mark, it's just like, all right, I can keep doing what I'm doing, or I can start absorbing some of this stuff that's being thrown at me, And it's weird because all it is, it's not that I'm wise. I don't think I'm any wiser than anybody else. I just think that I've absorbed so much stuff that the older guys gave to me. Now I'm just I'm a parrot. I'm just an old parrot. I'm just repeating everything.
You just drop the ego at a certain age. I think that's what I thought about my 30s. I was like, oh, I don't care what other people think anymore. I'm just going to do my thing.
Yeah, man. It's like, and you find like you kind of become I think you become who you've always wanted to be secretly. You know what I mean? It just takes you a little bit because like that ego is just poison, man. Woo! I mean every now and then it helps you maybe get through a moment when that a dumb kid just probably should have made it through, but your ego somehow lies to you and tells you, yeah, you're worth it, But yeah, man,
ego and insecurity are just the demise to so
I'm telling you, and they go absolute hand in hand, man. But yeah, my last question, man, and you know what? You don't have to do if you don't want to, but here it is. It is this. Gun to your head. You're literally, I walk up to you in an alley, gun to your head, like, all right, you have 20 seconds to rap or sing a song, or you're done. What are you going to go with?
Actually, I sing it to my son every night. So the one thing about when you have kids is you got to sing them songs at night. And the things that pop into your head are just the songs that you loved at a certain point in your life. So for me, it's a song called Motorcycle Drive-By by Third Eye Blind.
Yeah.
You know that song? I don't know why. That song just, when it came out, it just stuck with me. I play guitar, and it's an acoustic guitar song, so it's one of those first songs that I love to play and sing. So yeah. Do I gotta sing it too?
Oh yeah. 20
All
seconds.
right, this isn't gonna be good.
It's not supposed to be.
Ready? Summertime and the wind is blowing outside in Lower Chelsea, and I don't know what I'm doing in the city. The sun is always in my eyes, crashes through the windows, and I'm sleeping on the couch, and I came to visit you. That's when I knew that I could never have you. I knew that before you did. Still, I'm the one who's stupid. And there's this burning like there's always been. I've never been so alone, and I've never been so alive.
Hey.
That's the first verse.
Man, you did more than 20 seconds. Look, over T-Ray as always.
Well, I couldn't not finish the verse.
I cannot tell you, brother. I really appreciate this. I really appreciate you taking the time out, to chat it up with me, man. Obviously, we have places that you can be reached. Where can people find you? Where can they reach you?
Prophysique.com is my website. Paul Revella is my Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I don't even use Twitter or TikTok or none of that crap. So just YouTube and Instagram. And then you can find me at Core Nutritionals at the Arnold Classic if this comes out before that. And Sunday, you can find me watching LS do his thing on the platform.
Hey, perfect. Paul, my man, I appreciate you. I hope you have a great day. You know what? Hug the boys, kiss the wife. Freaking tell all the athletes they're killing it. Let's bring one home, bud. Meet you at the top, man.
I'll see you next week.
All right, man. Thanks again. Have a good one, bro.
See you, buddy.
What's up, guys? Thank you so much for listening to The Corner of the Circle, for watching the YouTubes and listening to all the different podcasts and all that good stuff. Want to let you guys know, also do some coaching. You can go to ellismcclain.com, and it will lead you right to where you need to go as far as filling out an inquiry and all that good stuff. And also, if you want, apparel needs and all that good stuff, we got swag. ellismcclain.com. Again, thank you so very much for everything you guys are doing for us, man, and helping us grow and all the good stuff. Like I said, stay tuned. We got more stuff coming, more episodes coming, more content coming. Either way, a lot of stuff's coming. Thank you guys very, very much.